I just finished the 4-book Vampire Diaries series. Let me tell you my thoughts on each book and if I recommend them or not. The first thing I'll say is TLDR, I do not recommend them to somebody who's not a big fan of the show, and I do not recommend them to somebody who's not a reader. If you like to read and if you're a big fan of the show, then give it a shot, but if not, then they might not be for you. Each book is pretty short, they're roughly 250 pages, so it is a pretty light and easy read. And I do really like that they play up the spooky horror sort of aspects of the show, especially the first book. So if you're looking for an October sort of Halloween quick read and you like the Vampire Diaries, then I would say give it a shot. This is the first book, titled The Awakening, and it is my least favorite in the series. I do think the series gets progressively better from books 1 to 4. Take this with a grain of salt for books 1 and 2 because I did read these a while ago, but from what I remember, I didn't love this book as much because it didn't have that much drama and action. Same thing with the second book. Damon here, he makes a very, very small appearance from what I remember again. It's mainly focusing on Stefan and Elena. The characters are very different from the show, the plot is very different from the show, and Elena is kind of insufferable in the books, which is very interesting to have the main character be kind of crazy. Without spoiling anything, because the plot is definitely very different from the show, it kind of covers, on a general basis, episodes 1 to like 6 of season 1, so pretty early on, maybe about half the season or less. So there's not that much that happens in here. This is the second book, titled The Struggle. This one was better than the first one in my opinion. I remember at the time being more engaged. Damon does make his big appearance in this book, and I believe it's sort of the point where he's like the main villain. The book is advertised on the back of it, surprisingly to me, as a love triangle, and torn between two vampire brothers. The girl who can have anyone finds herself in the middle of a love triangle, one that might turn deadly. I don't remember there being that much of a love triangle in this. I feel like you kind of know what's gonna happen. If you're looking for the love triangle book, like the big one, this really isn't that much of a love triangle, so I'm not sure why they played it up like this. As far as I remember, I did like it better than the first one though. Can't really remember why. These are the third and fourth books, The Fury and Dark Reunion. First we'll go over The Fury. This book, the third book, is when the action finally starts to happen. You get introduced to a big major villain in the show that I do love. Very different from the show though, again. The only thing I'll say about the action in this book is that although it was entertaining, it was so unbelievable and like weird that if it had happened in the show, I would have thought that it was just bad. Like that would have been Vampire Diaries' Riverdale moment, you know? But reading in the book, it was more entertaining for me, I think, because of 2 books before that were kind of dull with like not enough action. I was excited to finally see some action in that book. In book